welcome to Books of the Month. I'm sitting here with Dr. John Abraham, who's joining us via satellite. He is the author of Who Rules the World, God or Satan? Welcome, Dr. Abraham. How are you today?
I'm very good by the grace of God, and I appreciate this interview. And I'm very much, very happy to be here.
Well, welcome to Books of the Month. I'm looking forward to interviewing you. Tell us a little bit about you. Before getting into your actual book, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born in India, educated in India. I became a veterinarian, graduated from a very renowned veterinary college in India, and I committed myself for the service of the Lord. I accepted the Lord when I was 19 years old. Then I became interested in serving for the Lord, accepting his call. So I later pursued the studies in theology in the United States, and I completed my Master of Theology and also PhD in a particular subject, all about the Holy Spirit.
Okay, awesome, Dr. Abraham. So you're currently not in India. You are in Toronto, Canada, correct?
Right now, I am in Toronto, Canada.
And you are a pastor. Is your church located in Toronto?
I am pastoring a church which is named after Calvary Believers Assembly.
Calvary Believers Assembly. You are the founder and pastor of the church.
That's right.
And that is in Toronto?
That's in Toronto.
What is the address?
1560 Brimley Road, Toronto, Canada. The postal code is M1P3G9.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Abraham, you wrote a very interesting piece of literature, sir. And your book will answer a whole lot of questions that individuals may have. Who rules the world, God or Satan? Is that a definite answer? Is that a straightforward answer? Are we supposed to respond by saying God rules it or Satan rules it? Because the Bible does say that Satan is the God of the air and the God of this age. So, Dr. Abraham, tell me, who rules the world?
As far as my knowledge goes and my understanding goes, I have to say that it is not God who is ruling the world and the world systems. It is Satan who is ruling the world and mankind and the world system. God is overseeing it.
Is God ruling anything?
That's how even Jesus Christ has made it very clear that he is the God of this world.
Exactly. That's what the scripture says.
Yes,
so
right.
Your direct answer is Satan is ruling the world.
The world comprising of the mankind. I'm not including the other things besides mankind, the nature and the other lives on the face of this earth belonging to different kingdoms like animal kingdom or plant kingdom or whatever. Those are still under the control of God. Only the mankind has fallen into the hands of the Satan.
I understand what you're saying. So what was your inspiration for even writing this?
Because many people started asking me questions. Even the celebrities put forth the questions on the TVs and radios, saying that if God is alive, if God is loving, why should all these sufferings for the mankind should happen on the face of this earth? If at all he is a loving God and a graceful God and a merciful God, why should all these things happen and why the people should suffer? In the beginning, I was not able to give them a straightforward answer. But then later on, as I studied the scriptures and meditated on it and studied every aspect of what I have to do it, I finally found out that it is not God who is ruling the mankind. The rulership of the mankind has gone from Adam after he sinned into the hands of Satan.
Okay, so these things are happening because Satan you would say Satan is quote unquote in charge. That's why such things are happening.
It's not actually in charge. He is taken over, unilaterally, the control of the mankind. It has not been given to him. He has actually stole it. So it has not been given to him by God or by mankind, but he took it on himself and started to maneuver everything in the life of the mankind.
So who does Satan steal it from?
Say that again, sir.
Who or what or where did Satan steal this power from?
Okay. But Satan was there when God created Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And God told him, you have dominion, told Adam that you have dominion over all the creations on the earth, and everything will be subjected to you. This put a kind of an envious nature, thought into the mind of the devil, and he came and deceived him and pulled him into sin. So once he sinned, he lost his dominion on the mankind and on the face of this earth. So when the dominion is lost, he took it over. Satan took it over. It was not given to him by God or anybody, but he took it over by force and started, maneuvering everything in the man's life.
Okay. So because of what Adam did, Satan took over.
Took over. That's correct.
Why didn't God stop him?
That's a great question. It cannot be answered just in a few words, but I'll try to be as precise as possible. God has given the free will to Satan in the first place. And he used his free will to rebel against God, and he was cursed and he was thrown down and was made as Satan. So he was probably controlling the pre-Adamite world, which we are not given enough material to understand in the scriptures. But there should have been a pre-Adamite world which was ruled by Satan, which we can understand by a little bit here and a little bit there from the scriptures.
There must have been a pre-Adamic period.
I believe so. Yes.
Let's talk about that. Tell me about that.
Okay. Earth was without form when God saw the earth at some point of time, maybe 6,000 years ago. The earth was in existence, but it was without form. So God made it, put it back in proper place for man or some kind of living things to live back again on the face of this earth. There should have been some kind of life even before Adam was created, because in the story of creation, we find God speaking these kind of words. Let the earth bring forth the plants, and let the animal kingdom. And everything was kind of hibernated, or it was under the earth because of the previous destruction. It should have been also by a flood like Noah's flood, because everything went underwater and everything was died and hibernated. So when God said, let the earth bring forth all the living things, it came forth. So we read from different parts of the Bible, which says that he has made this world to such a disaster. Is he not that person who made this world in such a disaster? We find it in Isaiah and in Ezekiel. So there was somebody who was ruling the earth before Adam was created, and he made a mess of this earth and a disaster, and God destroyed it by flood, and the earth was covered totally by water. And we see in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, that the Spirit of the Lord was hovering over the earth, protecting it. So when the first flood came, Satan and his angels, or whatever who was with him, all the evil spirit, escaped from the earth and now occupying the mid-air or the second heaven, whatever the Bible describes it. So they are still there, watching over the earth, what is going on. So God came in now, and he said, let's make the earth livable again for humankind, which they will be like us in our image and in our likeness. We will create the mankind on the face of this earth, and he will be having dominion over everything on the face of this earth. That's what God planned. But this was a challenge to the Satan who was occupying the second heaven or the mid-air, which Jesus have authenticated it in his words, and Paul also has approved it, endorsed it in Corinthians. So what we find is Satan wanted to challenge God. Okay, you go ahead and create man on the face of this earth, which was once mine, and you threw me out, you destroyed me, you covered the earth with flood, and now you're going to create another man on the face of this earth, and you create him, and I will see what I have to do for him. So
Wow.
he challenged God, and he said, okay, go ahead, create a man on the face of this earth, and you see what I'm going to do to him.
That is a very interesting, that's an interesting presentation, Dr. Abraham. Listen, where can we find your book, Who Rules the World, God or Satan? Where can we find this information? Or where can we find the book?
Where can you find this book?
Yes.
Well, it's available in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many of the Christian bookstores. It's already put into the market.
Well, thank you, Dr. John Abraham. Thank you for joining us and sharing your book with us. I bid you Godspeed in your studies, that God will take you further in your research, discovering other truths about the God, our Creator. Thank you for joining us, and to all of you that have joined us on this particular episode, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for our next guest.